Okay, so is the Iran-Israel conflict going to ruin your portfolio? Is this going to completely shatter the stock market? These are thoughts everybody's having right now. And we're looking at things, we're going, what should we do? What's going to happen? Tariffs are there. We might get a new Fed chair. Yield curve's really steep. And this is one thing I'm thinking about myself as I'm walking near a property here. My wife and I are going to buy that's probably going to be about 4 to 4.5 million that we put into when all is said and done. And as we've built our value and our worth to the multiple millions since 2019, a lot of these things come into play and a lot of these things come into my mind, okay? So first, we're looking at Iran, Israel. What's gonna happen, right? We know if crude goes to 75, there might be crazy inflation. There's going to be, people are going to have pandemonium. The cost of gas is going to skyrocket. It's already going up. If you look at the S&P right now, it's already fallen. The only stock that I own currently that actually was in the green on Friday, right now it's June 15th, was Palantir, which is actually no surprise. That's the first thought, right? So we're looking at this and we're going, all right, well, everything is falling. And if this is going to continue for a long period of time, which is highly likely, then we are absolutely cooked. Then we're looking at the yield curve and we start to have these concerns. We start to think about things like, why didn't this play out certain ways, in the past? In 2022, we had a lot of job opportunity. And currently, as they're releasing job opportunity and employment and unemployment numbers, every single time they're releasing these numbers, the government is releasing these numbers, they start to adjust the previous release of numbers. So we're seeing that jobs are starting to fall off pretty substantially. So then we start to get even more concerned, right? Then there's the tariff talks. Are they going to resolve this stuff in China or not? What's going to happen with global trade? Okay. What's going to happen to the market with all of these different aspects? What's going to happen to cost? How much is it going to cost for us to go to Walmart and to get groceries and to get our clothing and stuff like that? Those are all general concerns. And we start to play all these mind games and we start to think through and panic. Okay. Then we start to think about, okay, well, Trump met with Jerome Powell. So all the cryptologists, the crypto bros, were freaking losing their mind. He's meeting with Jerome Powell. We're going to get a rate cut. Everything's going to be better. The rate cut didn't happen, obviously. And then what ends up happening is he probably was talking to Powell about who's going to be the next Fed chair. Okay. So then they're starting to get excited because crypto's starting to go up. Gold's starting to go up. Then what happens? Israel and Iran starts. Now crypto's stagnant. Okay, so all of these things come into play, and there's even more factors going on. We're starting to see that banks are starting to put more money back into the system. There's like a backdoor pumping of money back into the system. People are talking about the Fed balance sheet is just absolutely plummeting. It's constantly going to go back and forth through this. And one of the things that I want to bring up as I think about this is an old railroad tracks, and this is actually linked to the property that we are purchasing. The railroad tracks would go all the way back there. And I think this is the interesting part is like these old relics, right? It shows the value in specific assets, and it shows that if we are consistently thinking through how to be as stable as possible, everything's going to play out to be favorable for us. And where I want to go with that is that we're looking through all these different factors and we're thinking through, and we have this gut reaction that like we're going to lose all of these opportunities and we should just go buy a meme coin and we should just go listen and put money into a penny stock. Or we should, go invest in some crazy thing that you've never heard of. But in all reality, as we start to think through everything, right, and we really start to take that step back, what it comes back to is there's still nothing is going to change the value of companies, the value of land. The only thing that's going to happen is those things are going to continue to rise. Those things are going to continue to grow. Those things are going to continue to be profitable for us long term. And where I'm going with the relic relationship is that even if you look back to, let's say, the 50s, everybody was concerned in the 50s that what was going to happen between the Soviet Union and the United States. And the 50s was one of the best decades of the 20th century. Literally one of the best. The 80s, same thing. When Black Monday happened, how quickly did we respond? The market was back up within like a week. Okay, you even go forward and you look at COVID. Within 30 days, we were recovered into a stable situation. Look at what just happened in April of 2025. Plummeting. And now we're in June, and we're just near all-time highs when the Iran-Israel conflict happens. Like literally near all-time highs. So when we're looking at this, and this is the river, you can see more of a railroad bridge crossing over there. When we're looking at that, how can we take this step back and know that even when things happen like COVID, like Black Monday, like the 50s, like the 80s, all we have to do is look at ourselves and figure out how, one, we can make more money than we spend, right? You've got to have more income than expenses. That's the number one rule. And if you got more income than expenses, all of a sudden you're going, well, I've seen this before. I can take a step back and I can analyze things. Number two, what's the next thing that you can do? You've got to make sure that you're in this boat and you can go, okay, do I have $10,000 saved? Yes, I do. Okay, do you have $50,000 saved? Yes, I do. Okay, do I have $100,000 saved? Yes, and then you can build up and make those adjustments off of what's happening, okay? Off of where you're at. And now the big thing is, if you don't have $10,000 saved, you got to save $10,000. You've got to do that. If you've got $50,000 saved, do you own a property yet? Well, the market's pretty low right now. You probably could buy some property, okay? They're starting to give out loans. Even though the interest rates are slightly high right now, it's still a decent time to buy in some areas. It's a really good time to buy in some areas. And as we go through those ladders, and you think through all these aspects of like, okay, do I have 10,000? No. Okay, well, I got to save it. Do I have 50,000? Yes or no? And you start to play these things out. You can come back then and say, okay, now I have $100,000 saved. I've got a property. Where could I be dollar cost averaging here? Well, I could dollar cost average into something like SCHD. When I've gotten flack from some of you guys for is saying that things like SCHD, value investing, is down right now in my portfolio. It's down like $15,000. But if I keep putting money in, right, as things like this happen, we're still gonna need energy, right? So value investing is key. The AI boom is still going to happen. All of these things are still going to occur. So we have to recognize and look at things like SCHD, VOOs, continue to put your money into that. If you've got a property, if you've got 50,000, or if you've got 6 months of living expenses saved, if you've got all of those first level keys and you're making more money than you're spending. Increasing the value of yourself is the number one thing you should be doing all of the time. You can hear about Iran and Israel. You can hear about the yield curve. You can hear about M2 and they're pumping money into the system. You can hear about the new Fed chair. You can hear all of those things, but it still doesn't change the fact that you have to increase the value of yourself. And when you can increase the value of yourself, you make more money, you can save more money, you can be more strategic with things. And if there starts to be a fall off over the summer or into the fall and then a big bull market in 26, guess what? You're in position to see your assets grow. You're in position to play the game yourself, okay? Yes, there's gonna be ups and downs, ebbs and flows. It's gonna be scary. COVID was freaking crazy. But if you just stick to it and you have a sensible plan moving forward, all of the boogeyman stuff, you can just look at and analyze and know some of these things are going to change. Inflation might go up, inflation might drop, they might cut rates, they might not. The yield curve might look crazy. You know, we're going to go from having the American dollar, because that's starting to plummet now in value. And if we go to war, it's going to plummet even more. So then they're going to go into Bitcoin. And then when we have the Bitcoin reserves, now we're going to be able to pay off all of our debt. These are real thoughts that everybody's having. And instead of having those thoughts, think about how you can make yourself more valuable. Think about how you can contribute more to society so that you can make more money. And when you can make more money, you yourself become more stable, your family becomes more stable, and you can sort of sit there on the periphery and move things around and make those decisions so that you can build that legacy, build that financial worth, and just build that long-term stability, which is going to make you sleep way better at night. So I hope this helps somebody. That's what I'm thinking about looking at this past week and all of the crazy things that are happening in the world. Till next time, peace. Don't listen to Diary of a CEO and their podcasts on financial shit. That still pisses me off. Bye-bye.